There are literally hundreds of videos out there telling you which paint is the best paint to use and which one you should buy. And I'm here to tell you that there isn't a best paint, but there is a best paint for you. So let me explain that. So, to explain, I just got a box of stuff from Mindwork Games, and it's filled with tons of stuff. Like for basing, I got a wet palette that's huge in comparison to the one I've been using. Awesome stuff. And among that stuff, paint. Okay? And it made me kind of start thinking about the paints because I have a few different brands of paints. No, I don't have a giant shelf of anything yet, but I have a few different paints that I have tried out, and it kind of made me ask that question again. Which one's the best? And that was when I realized that when you're talking about paint, there's tons of decisions that you have to make. And what I mean by that is, are you going to do non-metallic metal or true metallic metal? Are you going to do slap chop or not? Are you going to learn how to blend? Or are you just going to stick to normal colors? There are literally 100 different questions that you can ask about your individual style, about how you want to paint. Even in the world of competition painting, the styles vary. They're different. And what does that tell you? It tells you that not one specific style is the best style. But for you, you can find your best style, your favorite style, the way that you like to paint. And you can take that to whatever level you want to. And sure, some skills probably win Golden Demon more than others. But the truth is, they all change. If you don't believe me, check out the Golden Demon winners from 25 years ago. These models are amazing. They're filled with character. And you know what else? They're painted in styles that we don't use anymore. So styles change. The way you paint should too. So now the real question becomes, how do you find the best paints for you? And the answer is simple, but at the same time, a pain in the butt. You have to test them. You have to try them. You have to branch out of how you paint right now, unless it's the best way that you love to paint. And you have to try new things. And what I mean by that is when I first started painting, all I did was gray robe with a brown leather bag and red boots. And that's it. 3 colors, slapped them on. Skin, I used a skin tone, done. And then I went from that to zenithal highlight, and painting in colors and trying to do lighter and darker colors where there was shadow and doing edge highlights. And then I went from that to the way that I paint now, which is, well, this way. Okay, so this is Mounted Hetman. Okay, so I'm assuming her name's Hetman. She's one of the new Hegemony mounted units, and I have never painted a horse. And I thought, I gotta paint a horse. This looks amazing. So first thing I did was prime it black, then I just hit it with a white dry brush, trying to do... It's kind of like a specific zenithal highlighting on the things that I wanted to be highlighted. And as you can see, I started doing some color testing to see what I liked, if I liked this blue, the red. And I got these cool new paints from Mindwork that they sent to me to try out. Right off the bat, just kind of quick thing to say about them. They all say on the front whether or not they're semi-transparent, if they're opaque, or if they are actually transparent. I gotta find one of them that's transparent. Right here we go. Okay. And I like that a lot because it lets me know if I should be trying to base coat with them or not. And so, I don't know, just kind of a cool thing that I really liked. But anyway, we're going to start painting this lady up and hopefully I can paint a horse. Okay, so first thing that I did first, after everything that you saw before, was I painted her cape white. I thought I'm going to come back to this with like a turquoise color. If it's white, it'll be a lot easier to paint. And so I just hit it with, for a single coat of white paint. And honestly, after trying the turquoise just on the black, I don't even know if that was necessary because the turquoise actually did super well. And it was this turquoise blue. And one thing I will say about these paints is that they're probably some of the thickest paints that I've ever dealt with. But with a little bit of water, you water them down a little bit, get them to that right consistency, and they work super, super well. But after painting this white, I went to doing this. The colors that I wanted for this are going to be this yellow color and the turquoise. I thought that's kind of a cool color to have. I wanted to have a nice turquoise cape. She'll have like some yellow on her clothing and things like that where there's not the armor. But the reason I wanted to start with this is because yellow does not go over black well, and I thought I'm going to have to do a bunch of coats of this. Regardless of what paint, I feel like you typically have to do that for yellow. But then, yeah, just using this yellow oxide. Like I said, opaque, right? Opaque. These opaque ones, these are the solid colors that I'm trying to put on over the top. And it took a couple coats to get to this point. But I feel like as far as the yellows that I've used over black, that's actually really good. You know, so if I can do it in 2-3 coats, I'll be very happy with that. And then I'll move on from that to doing the blue and see how it goes. The horse itself I want to do, but I know I'm going to be doing it with like the white and the gray, you know, maybe even a little bit of blue like I'm showing here. And I know that that will go on really smoothly. So I'm trying to do the stuff that I know is going to take a few coats first, just because I want to get them out of the way. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so after doing those base coats, I mean, honestly, it's a good chunk of the unit. And you can see why I chose the blue and the yellow. I feel like together they are such just a good combination. And now I have all of this underlying like metal work that needs to be done on both the shield and on the horse. And I know I shouldn't do that first, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's what I want to do. And yeah, let's go from there. I know that it's not a huge thing, but man, I love doing some of the detail stuff, the silver. And you can see that I've kind of gone over it a little bit. When I do the final touch-ups on everything, I will get in and get rid of those, which is why I feel like I got to start on that skin. Now is the time. And just kind of wanted to show off my colors so far. Just what I've been doing. As you can see, I mean, I got my main blue here, and I lighten it up here, darken it down here, just using my white and black. I did not mean to do that much black, but you know, sometimes it happens. And so now we've got to use it. And for the gray, you might think I'm crazy, but all I'm going to do is mix that white and that gray black together until I get the gray that I want. And keep in mind, because this is a horse, I'm going for natural grays. And so it's going to go up and it's going to go down. There's going to be lights, there's going to be darks. There might even be spots. I haven't decided. But because of that, mixing my own gray isn't that big of a deal. Whereas, you know, if you were doing armor or something like that at another point, it could be. For this, I think it's going to be just what we want. And we're just going to start putting that on And again, the beauty of painting a horse and why I wanted to do this in the first place is that the model does a fantastic job of showing off like the muscle in the horse's leg. And so when you're doing the light and the dark and things like that, it's really cool to be able to see the definition. And I'm hoping that as I paint this, that I do a good job of that. But we'll see, right? The saddest part about these paint companies is that because of how they make their paints, they don't all behave the same. And what I mean by that is you can buy Vallejo and love, 10 of their colors, but then their orange and their yellow suck, which I'm not saying they do. I would love to test them out, Vallejo. But I'm saying that every brand has paints that act differently from their other paints. It's just how it is. These Mindwork paints, some of them were just that perfect, opaque, one coat and you're done. And then you can highlight and do shadows, whatever you want on top of it. Some of the other ones, you got to put on a couple times. It's one of those things that they're not going to behave the same, which is the beauty in paint as well. You got to find what works best for you. And sadly, like I said, sometimes that means that you're going to have, in your 20 most used paints, you'll have 3 or 4 from one brand, 5 or 6 from another. Hopefully you can find one that checks off all your boxes. But in my experience, it doesn't happen that often. So what I suggest, start with the little intro boxes. Most companies have an intro box that has like their, these colors. And if you don't want to get the same 10 colors over and over again, they have varied boxes that you can get into. Case in point, I did a video not too long ago about Infinity's intro to painting box that I thought was fantastic. I loved every paint in that set. I thought it worked really well. And I mean, that was the point of it. You can check that video out here, by the way. That was the point of that whole video, was to get you into it with paints that are good paints and to show you how to do it. And I thought, what a great way to start. And you don't have to pick that one up, but you can. And you can use my affiliate link down below to do that if you would like to send a little bit of your purchase my way. It doesn't cost you anything extra and helps the channel out, and it lets Corvus Belli know that I'm trying to peddle their products. But that's fine, because I love their products and I think their stuff is great. So it works out for both of us. But by doing that, you can keep the good and you can move on. If you want to buy one of the big box sets, I'm not telling you not to. But I will say this. I don't own one. And I have, 50, 60 different things of paint. And most of them don't get used. And paints don't last forever. So spend your money as wisely as you need to. I'll leave that up to your discretion, right? Who am I to tell you what to do? And lastly, just kind of my final thoughts on the Mindwork paints that I got. They are thick. They are big bottles. I love that. I like thickness because I feel like by the time I thin it down, I have a ton of paint to work with. And I don't feel like necessarily I'm wasting it too much. Little tip with these. It sucks to squeeze them down onto a wet palette. So what I did was kind of shook everything down to the bottom, pop it open, and then I just squeeze it up and take whatever I need and then let the rest go back inside. That way you don't waste any. But overall, I really liked these paints. They were fun. They were easy to work with. Some of the colors weren't as strong as I'd hoped they would be, but I mean, yellow and black, it's hard to find one that is. Other than that, everything was really good. And thanks, Mindworks, for letting me check these out. I thought they were great, and I'll keep them. Like I said, maybe not all of them, but I'll keep most of them. And I've asked this before in another video, but the answers were so great and so helpful that I feel like I have to ask it again. And that is, what paints are your favorite? And no, I don't want you to give me like a generalized list of all the paints that you love, but what brand do you love and why do you like them? Because chances are, if someone's watching this, they're looking for paints to buy, and hearing your thoughts just makes that so much easier for them. And with that being said, which ones do you hate? And I'm not talking about an entire range. Give me a color that you hate and why. So that way, maybe if somebody's thinking about it, they can look somewhere else. Okay. Anyway, we're all in this together, right? We're trying to make this hobby the best it can be for everybody. And here at Pulsegate Games, that means trying out things over and over and over again and testing things out, even if we're not super comfortable with it, because that's half the fun, right? So thank you for sticking around. And please, if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, follow the channel. I'm putting out videos every week, and it's all about the tabletop gaming hobby. I've got some Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff coming up, more Crow, more Infinity, more Warmachine, heck, maybe some Warhammer. I mean, I did a little Age of Sigmar, and I'm going to keep pushing forward on that. So drop in, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you want to see. And as always, don't spend so much time building your world that you forget to spend some time in it. Until next time.